Welcome to the WanderLearn show. I'm your host, Francis Tapon. This is an episode featuring Sym Blanchard. It's a series of episodes, in fact, that I have. If you're curious what this particular episode is about, look at the show notes. Yeah, I always document it all in there. He's a fascinating guy, always fun to talk with. He's always welcome on the show, and enjoy this particular episode with him. Welcome to the WanderLearn show. I'm your host, Francis Tapon. I'm here again with Sym Blanchard, and today we're going to talk about raising a family and what he's learned from his lessons of doing that. You have, Sym, a daughter who's currently 36 years old. And
almost 36.
And the son
is almost 38.
Okay. And why'd you, first of all, go back to basics. Why did you choose 2 years apart? Because I've read recently that you're supposed to wait 18 months between pregnancies as an optimal strategy for health of, I don't know, but maybe that wasn't back in the day. You just, because there were basically 2 years difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was the same New Year's party that we had.
Because they're born in the same month.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, my brother and I are also 2 years apart, and we're born in March.
Okay.
Both of us are born in March.
Yeah, they were born in October.
Yeah.
And I don't know. 2 years seemed like a good amount of time, and I think we're ready after 2 years. For this, year and a half to.
So start. What was go through the period of from infancy? Like, was there a particularly tough period of raising children?
I think it was pure joy. It was really a lot of fun until puberty, and that's always a tough time with teenagers. And my son was pretty darn easy. He was pretty easy, and my daughter was a little more difficult. We always, it was never really overwhelming, but it was just really difficult. And when my daughter turned 13, there's kind of a bifurcation, they call it, where she kind of, my son was, Mr. Academic and Mr. Focus on things, and my daughter not so much, and she was, pretty rebellious, which was okay, but you kind of think, okay, she's 13, that's normal. Maybe when she's 15 or 16 or 17 or 18, she'll
or
get
25
or 36, that they'll turn out of it. And she really hasn't. And so she's not talking to me now.
When did she stop talking to
you? Probably when she was, at various times. I'd try and reconnect, and then something would happen, and she gets into the blame game and the victim. I'm a victim, and you did this and you did that, and it's like, okay, and not really taking responsibility for her life, which I'm proud of my son. He does.
Well, maybe she'll say the same thing to you. She said, "You're not taking responsibility for all your fuck ups as a father."
Yeah, maybe, but I don't make that ruin my life. It's not like, I'm angry at her for, because I'm, I didn't, I'm not a victim anyway. She plays a victim, so I'm, supposedly I'm the cause of whatever thing she's going through. So she's, we have family get-togethers, and I encourage her to go, and I pay for her to go, but she really hasn't responded, nicely, or she'll find something that,
what,
that I said.
Just out of curiosity, what is it that, what was so traumatic or difficult in her childhood that she attributes this thing? Because at least, what has she expressed? Like, well, Dad, you did not do X, Y, Z. What were the X, Y, Z?
Yeah, one big one, she wanted to play competitive soccer, and that means that she's going to miss out on school, and she's going to be driving all over, drive all over the state. And we just didn't see that. Both my wife and I didn't see that commitment from her, or that, focus, that it would have been worth it to, sacrifice her academics, for that. And so she still talks about, we should have let me go to competitive soccer, and I don't know, maybe that's right, but I wish she would have been a little bit more enthusiastic or forceful, because she just goes, okay, at the time.
I mean, as Olympians of her generation are barely, unless you're in the Olympic team, you're probably not making money. It's like the women's soccer leagues are just low at this point.
And my concern also was the heading the ball. especially for young kids. Yeah, concussions. And she had a few, I don't know, kind of concussions where she ran into people and doing the headbutts. And so we were concerned about her health, doing that. So.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I don't have good news for you because my brother, he's 57 years old and he still holds all sorts of grudges against the family.
The whole family.
Yeah, there's only two of us left, my mom and me.
Yeah, yeah.
But he basically he's always been distant ever since he was an adolescent. Ever since he was a teenager.
Yeah.
He kind of disconnected, and he's been that way pretty much ever since. I mean, minimal contact, modest amount of contact, outbursts of anger every once in a while for no apparent reason. In your case, you've actually had some discussions with your daughter as her telling you what bothers her. Yeah. But in the case of my brother, I have no fucking idea. I have no idea. No idea. I mean, I can speculate, but speculation, we can all speculate, but that's not the answer.
Yeah.
And here's the tricky thing, is that whatever people tell you is the reason of why they're upset, maybe it's not the real reason. Because either A, they lack self-awareness, and so they don't even know what is wrong with their mind or their feelings or whatever. They're just disconnected. Or B, if they happen to know what it is, then they're not willing to publicly admit it.
Yeah.
For example, I'm just making up a stupid story here, but let's say your daughter, was angry that you didn't buy a pink dress for her when she was 8 years old.
Right.
And that's really, for her, fundamentally, that really just was the death knell of everything.
Rosebud.
Right. And so, but she knows that if she says that and utters those words to you, you'll be like, really? You're basically shutting me out from your life because I didn't buy you a dress. It's just like, it's ridiculous. So she would never want to publicly admit that to you or to anybody, that that's really what's getting her upset. Because deep down inside, she knows rationally that that's ridiculous, that doesn't make much sense. That's not fair. But at the same time, she cannot get away from the fact that it drives her bananas and it drives her crazy. And it's very hurtful. It's an experience, a memory that she just can't get over. And she's just obsessed about it. And so
sometimes people need that. They need something to blame whatever problems they have and say, oh, that's because of my dad or that's because of my mom. Just because they need something. They don't take responsibility for themselves. And so they need somebody else. And unfortunately, I think that's you move into adulthood when you do take responsibility and accountability. And unfortunately she doesn't. Now my son does. He takes responsibility and he moves on, and he's been really good like that. So
the one thing that's changed in my life in my 50s, I would say, is that whole idea. I used to be like you and believing that you really have to take personal responsibility. We're the captain of our own destiny, and we move the ship. We move the ship to where we want to go, and whatever consequences benefits, we get all the credit or the blame for whatever else happens. However, recently I've started to give up on the idea of that we have so much free will. And here's a simple argument. Let's just ask you this question. What percentage of who you are, Sym, is genetics, and how much of you is environment, roughly? Give me a ballpark number. Maybe not you, or people in general.
I mean, I can throw out, it depends on everybody, but let's just say 50-50.
Great guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did you choose your genes?
No.
So right off the bat, there's determinism, right?
Yeah.
So in other words, you had no free will with your genes, zero.
Well, what you do have is your reaction to the...
Okay, hold on. That's okay, but your reaction could be genetically programmed to have negative reactions. In other words, your genes could make you predisposed to anger, for example. Could make you predisposed to depression, schizophrenia, or whatever. And okay, so now we look at the environment, right? So 50% of you is the environment. What percentage how much control did you actually have in your environment? How about your first 20 years? Practically nothing, right? Your father chose what school you're going to go to. Your mother chose what you're going to eat. They decided where you're going to live, what kind of family, how many siblings you're going to have, what the weather was going to be like, what activities you could pursue, whether you get to play soccer or not, all that stuff. So your environment is, well, yeah, it's 50% environment, but you didn't have control of your environment for the first 20 years of your life. So that's also deterministic in a sense. You're pretty much, there's no free will there either.
To a certain degree.
To a large extent. You don't have free will when you're a child.
There, but for the grace of God go I. That's your argument, right? I mean, anybody, you see a bum on the road, and I could be there if I, got the same genes and got the same experience. So, I mean,
exactly.
That's what it's, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. And so all I'm saying is that I've softened. And that's actually made me, I used to be a hardcore libertarian.
Yeah.
And now I've become, I wouldn't say I call myself a socialist, but I'm open more to socialism because what is socialism? Socialism means that some people just have bad luck.
Yeah.
Bad genes, bad environment, and they just turn out to be have a shitty life.
Yeah.
And should we then punish them and not help them out economically to make sure that they have, let's say, housing and food and be okay? I used to be somebody, again, a libertarian who just says, hey, if your life sucks, it's because it's all your fault. You're fucking lazy, or you don't study, you don't whatever. But now more and more, I've kind of realized that if you control barely 50% of your environment, right? Let's say, if optimistically, so that leaves 25% is true free will, and 75% is deterministic. Because 50% is genes, 25% is environment that you had very little control over, certainly as a child. Yeah. And so that leaves you with the vast majority. We can quibble whether it's 75% deterministic or 90% deterministic or 95% deterministic, but free will is definitely a much lower component than I ever gave it credit to be. I always thought that free will was very high. What do you think?
I think there's and it goes down to belief. That if you believe that you have more control over your life, that you can control your emotions and you can control various things, if you believe that, then you really do. And so you have more options when something bad happens to you in how you react, if you believe that you can have an impact. I mean, if you have a belief that, whatever happens to you, okay, I couldn't do anything about it and I'm screwed. I don't think you have agency, and you don't, have the gumption or the free will to deal, effectively with the bad situation or with a different situation. So, I mean, I agree with you that a lot of stuff that happens, you can't avoid, or you can't, you're stuck with it because of your genes and the other. But I think having a belief that you do have free will to make a difference, I think it does make it's empowering. Yeah. So I can see your point.
I agree that it's empowering. I guess my point is that some people, because of their DNA, because of their environment, because they had parents who always says, "Oh, you can't do that," or whatever, or teachers who said that. So, and then on top of it, they maybe have in their DNA programming that says that their DNA kind of somehow discourages them. I don't know how this is possible, but anything's possible. We don't understand DNA very well, to what extent it programs us to be defeatist, to be kind of just somebody who's a nihilist. That could just be encoded in our DNA, that you have a propensity to veer toward nihilism and just like, well, fuck it, I have no control. I'm just a victim, and that could be in our DNA. So going back to your daughter, it could be that she just happens to be born with certain DNA. There's a few events in her life that kind of affected her, and she is what she is. And I don't like it. I don't like the idea of giving free will a backseat to determinism. At the same time, it's given me a lot more compassion. I guess that's the upside, is that I used to be far less compassionate for people who were not well off. And who were suffering and who had misfortune, who were, drug addicts or whatever, and, just the bottom of society, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I would agree with you that it's more productive to feel compassion for people who are in a situation and, whether through their own efforts or not, they're not able to get out of it or change things, and that compassion is good. And also, though, for myself, I think it's good to feel the agency that I can make a difference or I can change things just on sometimes free will. So I think it's good to look at it at both ways.
Right. So I guess the lesson is try to assume as much free will as possible when it comes to yourself.
Yes. And then everybody else is
tough shit.
Falls on their own petard.
And did you, because I imagine, I mean, like so many parents, to me, this is the whole thing about parenting. It just seems like such a fucking roulette wheel. I mean, it's like, here you are, most parents give both children as much they send the same children to the same school. I imagine, did your two? Same school, right?
Yeah.
Okay, in my case, my mom literally dressed my brother and I with identical clothing. Even though we were 2 years apart, we would wear the same pants, same shirt, same thing, just to be the same.
Yeah.
And yet, as much as parents try to do as best they can, equal size rooms, nobody gets like the mansion in the house, and the other one gets to live in the closet. All sorts of efforts that parents make to kind of make sure that everybody gets kind of this socialist, communist. But in the end, they come out so fucking differently.
They do, yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
look at how many brothers and sisters
I
you have?
I have 3 sisters and 1 brother, and we all came out completely different.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And this is a constant story.
Yeah.
I hear this all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And it's just like parents do their darndest.
Yeah, you do your best.
Pump out some clones. And even when they do literally pump out a clone, i.e. identical twins, they still come out differently.
Yeah.
Even identical twins don't come out the same. So it's just like, holy shit, what a crapshoot. And yet, and here's the paradox, that so many men and women, they talk about the joys of parenting, like you just did.
Yeah.
And yet, at the same time, they talk about these massive headaches.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's a total paradox.
Yeah. It's worth it in the end.
Why?
I guess it's just
like why is it worth it? Like, you have a daughter that doesn't even talk to you in her 30s.
Well, her big problem is she didn't have kids. If she had kids and got married, she'd go, oh, now I understand. And since she didn't, she can just play the blame game and go, oh, my parents should have done this. My son's going through parenthood now, and he understands and he can see how different it is. So.
That's actually an interesting insight, because my brother does not have children.
Yeah.
And that might have made a difference potentially.
Yeah. You never know.
You have to do scientific studies as far as that's concerned. But obviously, there's probably cases of people who don't have children who are okay. Like I've always appreciated my mom, and my brother doesn't seem to. I've always appreciated my brother, but he doesn't seem to. And it's weird. Why is it that some people? It comes back down to DNA, genes, I guess.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
What else could it be?
Or some kind of interactions at some point, and
they place a lot of value. And so,
yeah.
But how early in the process did you realize that your daughter was going to be? Is it adolescence? Everything was fine until adolescence?
Yeah. She was very academic, very engaged, and very, just.
All right, put yourself in a time machine. What could you have done differently? And it had a different outcome.
That's a good one. I don't know.
Really? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I could have let her do competitive soccer, but
she would have a concussion and be brain dead.
Yeah. And maybe she wouldn't have done well at academics, and she got involved with peer pressure and peers. Her girl, what do they call it? The mean girls type thing, with kids at school, and.
But come on. There has to be something that you look back and say, I could have behaved differently, done differently, parented differently.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure I could have been more compassionate and more understanding and talk more. But you don't know. You when you talk to kids, sometimes it's they want to be alone. They don't want to be talking. And if you try to, it's they kind of get into up to puberty. I think. After puberty, there's more connection to their peers, and their peers mean a lot more. I just watched the movie Inside Out 2, and it goes into the brain of a 13-year-old. And when
it's a documentary.
It's a cartoon. It's a animation, and it's fabulous. but they go, she's going through regular things, and all of a sudden puberty hits. It's a big button, and everything explodes, and she just completely gets hit with all these emotions and these new things going. It's really a good movie.
And then the question is why some people just don't grow out of it.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Because there definitely are people who just don't seem to fucking grow up.
My daughter.
Yeah, and I know some people too that just they're still like little children in their head, no matter what their age.
And why are they little children? Is it because they don't take responsibility for themselves? Do they blame everybody, or why do you see that?
That's one thing. Poor regulation of emotions is another classic thing. Just like have a mental breakdown over trivial things, which what I call trivial.
Yeah.
And you and I, because we're both long-distance backpackers, we put up with a lot of misfortune.
Yeah.
And we've learned to regulate ourselves.
Yeah.
Like when it's all of a sudden the mosquitoes are out and it's 100 degrees or it's freezing cold and you're tired and comfortable, wet, and hungry, you learn to say, you know what? Still, life is good.
Could be worse.
Could be dead.
Could be dead.
I could have a broken leg. Oh wait, in fact, I have a broken leg.
I don't have 2 broken legs.
Exactly. Right, and so that takes a tremendous amount of auto-regulation that you kind of start to learn and ideally master as an adult, but some people just don't.
Yeah.
They just don't. You see people driving and then they get furious. They're gonna cut me off, and then they just blow off.
Yeah. Borderline personality disorder, I think they call some of that.
Oh, it could be. Yeah. I made a fascinating interview that's May 20th. It's with my favorite book of the year. It's called They're Not Gaslighting You.
Oh, okay. I've heard about that.
And it's a really good book, and how people are misusing clinical terms. They're weaponizing terms.
Oh.
So one of them is borderline personality disorders, that sometimes people accuse too many people of having it, when in fact they don't.
Yeah.
They just exhibit a few individual traits of borderline personality disorder, but they're not actually clinically having a pathology of that thing.
Yeah, there's so many aspects to borderline personality disorder, and everybody, displays one or two.
Exactly. Right.
But it's just when you do a whole bunch of
same
them.
thing with narcissism. Same thing with gaslighting. Same thing with a lot of these different or psychopathy.
Yeah.
Or sociopathy. I mean, we all have little bits of our personality, or at least moments, days, that we behave in a pretty suboptimal way.
Yeah, I should read. I'll read that.
It's really, really good book.
Oh,
really good book. I really enjoyed it. It's my favorite book of 2025.
And you interviewed him for?
I interviewed the lady who's she's the doctor who wrote it.
Oh, good.
And Isabelle Morsley, Dr. Isabelle Morsley. I'll put a link in the show notes to describe it. But yeah. So what somebody's listening to this maybe somehow identifies and says, you know what, I guess I haven't fully grown up. I want to become more wise, and they might be listening to this at the age of 17. They could be, or 71.
72.
Or 72, right? Like you.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give them? I mean, or like if your daughter were listening, which of course she's not going to be listening to this, but if she were listening to us, how do you kind of snap out of this kind of grind? Because in the end, here's the thing, Sym, is that they're just people who are kind of upset at you or others, or point the finger at others. Ultimately, they're not happy themselves.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they're upset with themselves. Yeah. They're not fulfilled. They're not happy internally. So your daughter, I don't know, I've never met her, certainly never talked to her. I think you sent me a picture of her, but I mean, in the end, she's miserable. It's kind of like my brother. My brother, he's, internally, he's not happy. And, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad that, so somebody's listening to this and says, they're a victim of this, victim of that. Somebody wronged me here, wronged me there. My life sucks because of all these things. You kind of want them to get them out of it. And you have the compassion to say, hey, I want to get you to snap out of this little vicious cycle that you're in. What are some words of wisdom that you could give to somebody who's listening to this and saying, I see a little bit of myself in those people. And I see a little bit of myself in this kind of suboptimal behavior, I guess you might call it. What would you tell them? You're the wise old elder here.
Yeah, my wisdom is that you can't change people. They kind of have to change themselves. And to give advice, I don't know if I've given advice to my daughter and it kind of goes nowhere, which is probably reasonable. But for my...
Did you listen to your parents when they gave you advice?
Yeah, I would listen. I wouldn't do what they said, but I would. I would always listen, and my son would always listen, and my daughter would be kind of like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to. But no.
What about her mother? Did she have a better connection with her?
I think she has a better connection with her, but she went through periods where she wouldn't talk to her mother either. And they don't have such a great relationship
anymore.
Yeah, and I think the same thing when they were when she was 13. It was kind of...
By then she was already divorced.
No, we divorced about 10 years later.
So when she was in her 20s.
Yeah, 20s.
So you can't even blame the divorce on this one, although you might be had an acrimonious marriage at that point.
I thought we did really well raising kids and having a family and doing stuff, and it's just when the kids went off to college, then we go, okay, what do we want to do with our lives? And she wanted a bigger swimming pool and more hedges to trim, and I wanted to go backpacking and travel, and I didn't want to spend her money doing that. So we had a very amicable divorce, and I still enjoy seeing her and visiting with her.
Where does she live now?
She's in North Carolina. Yeah.
Oh, wow. How did she end up there? Weren't you guys in LA?
Yeah, where'd we go? Walnut Creek. Santa Rosa, Walnut Creek.
Okay, you guys were here.
Yeah,
in the Bay Area.
The Bay Area, and then she moved up to Oregon, and then over to get cheaper tuition for my daughter, and then North Carolina because she has some family there, and so she's doing fine.
So in the end, it's hard to give people advice because you're feeling that they have to start. I guess. You have to start from wanting something different in your own life.
Yeah, they kind of have to do that. And honestly, counseling is really good, I think. Therapy, if they want to really dig in. I mean, some of them are just, okay, they're happy, they're miserable.
Right.
And
some people are just happy to be miserable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like, they're motivated by it. I mean, a lot of people watch the news and they yell at the TV because it just brings them a certain amount of satisfaction, I guess.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not sure I have that much influence.
It sounds like the old adage that the older you get, the more you realize you don't know.
That's right. Yeah, so true. I don't know. Wisdom. I wish I were wise, but I'm really not. I'm still learning.
You've heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect?
No. What is that?
Oh, Dunning-Kruger. Okay, so basically, you climb Mount Stupidity.
Uh-huh.
So basically, when you're learning anything, you tend to rapidly learn at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then you get to the peak of Mount Stupidity when you think you pretty much know a lot and you kind of mastered the subject of whatever that is. And then you continue to learn some more, but now you feel like you're very confident. You're like, I know this shit. I know everything about this subject, and I'm a master. Then you continue to learn, and then all of a sudden you start to realize, oh my God, I actually don't know that much at all.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And then you start going down Mount Stupidity into the valley of despair.
Oh, no.
Into the valley of ignorance.
Oh, this is good. Yeah.
And then you realize, holy fuck, I don't know jack shit about this subject.
Yeah.
And you get these brutal lessons of humility.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's like, take, for example, a doctor. I remember, people who get trained to be a doctor, they go through certain initial training and then they feel like, wow, I know how to save lives. I know CPR. I'm a master at CPR. And all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, there's a lot more to saving a life than just CPR.
Yeah,
it's a lot more nuanced, a lot more complicated. And then you're at the very bottom. And then when you're in the valley of despair, in the valley of complete ignorance, you start to slowly, instead of having a vertical, very steep climb out of it, it's a very gradual climb out of the valley of despair as you build knowledge, and you never get high as you were at the peak of Mount Stupidity. You never go that high, but you kind of realize. And Dunning-Kruger were these two. I think they were economists that basically labeled this term, and
it's
basically
perfect. Yeah,
yeah. It's just
love
that
it.
You realize the more you know, the more experience you have, the more you realize you don't know shit.
Yeah,
or you know very little. And eventually it's all about becoming humble as you age. And when you're a fucking teenager, you really think you know everything.
Yeah.
You're a hot shot. You're like, I know everything I need to know. I'm like, yeah, I'm great. And you arrogantly.
And you don't know humility.
Right.
And it's good to be totally humiliated. It really is, because then you go, okay, well,
that didn't work.
That didn't work. Yeah. But then it's like, yeah, the humility is good to have when you're older. Probably when you're younger too.
It's difficult to do. All right, Sym, great chatting with you, and I hope you share this podcast. If you enjoyed, go check out our other podcasts with Sym. I'll put a link in the show notes. And Sym, give us your update on what you're going to be doing for the rest of 2025, the second half of this year.
Let's see. We've got a wedding in Seattle, so we're going to hike the WanderLearn Trail going around Mount Rainier and the Olympic Peninsula, and then we're going to be going to. We're showing Joan's brother around and his girlfriend and his son around California for a couple of weeks. And then we're flying out to Italy to hike the Dolomites for a couple of, I think about 3 weeks. And then down to Cinque Terre in Italy and do that. And then we want to do the Portuguese Camino de Santiago in Portugal. And then we're thinking of just meandering across France and Germany. Joan hasn't seen too much of that. And then hopefully to Eastern Europe. I want to read your book again and re-experience a lot of that. And then we signed up for Rick Steves to do a 13-day tour in Turkey, and then go to Santorini and other places in Greece. And then that's about, that's how we got planned so far. So.
That's amazing. Great plan. Love it. And then you definitely have an amazing itinerary. I see you share it with me. It's a spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah.
Detailed. You're a detailed planner.
Yeah. And the other thing, I want to finish the Eastern Continental Trail. It goes from Key West to Newfoundland.
Overlapping with the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah. It's Appalachian Trail and the Florida Trail. And the Benton MacKay and the Pinhoti, it's all part of that trail that goes all the way up. So hopefully I'll complete most of that next year.
So that's 2026.
Maybe 2025 possibly, but 2026 for sure.
Okay. And will you do that solo, or will you do that with your girlfriend, Joan?
We did part of it together, but she didn't like it so much. So I'll
because she's not a big camper.
Yeah, she doesn't like to camp.
Okay.
She's a great hiker, fantastic hiker, but not a camper.
So then when you're doing those trails, then she just stays in her place in the Bay Area?
Yeah, and hopefully she'll meet up with me at a hotel or something to meet up and cheer me on.
Okay.
We'll see.
Resupply you.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Sym, really love catching up with you every single time. No matter where we are, I'm always glad to see your progress and see that you're not slowing down.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, thanks, Francis. I really appreciate this.
And that ends this episode of the WanderLearn podcast, where we explore travel, technology, and transformation. If you'd like to see the show notes with links to what we've talked about, go to wanderlearn.com and click on this episode. If you'd like to connect with me, just remember Tapon. That's my first initial and my last name. Tapon is always my social media username. My website is ftapon.com. Do you want to leave me an anonymous voicemail where you can make a comment or ask a question? Then go to speakpipe.com/ftapon. Furthermore, if you'd like to get rewarded for supporting my projects, then go to patreon.com/ftapon. That's where you can pick up some remarkable rewards for as little as $2 a month. Now, 5 quick favors. Number 1, subscribe to the WanderLearn podcast. 2, download it. 3, share it. 4, review it. And 5, sign up for my newsletter at wanderlearn.com. Our theme music was composed by Eric Stratman. This is Francis Tapon, encouraging you to wander and learn.